Hello everyone, my name is Kriplayla. Today, we back again in Plants vs Zombies Fusion, continuing the challenge of how many seed slot does it takes to beat Plants vs Zombies Fusion. This is part 2 of this series. So if you haven't checked the first episode, I highly recommend you to go and watch that first. But if you already watched that, then let's continue today, conquering all pool and fog stages. Alright, let's get into it. Now we're reached into the pool. It feels so good when we're able to gain sun passively. And yes, I'm using only lily pad on this level. It's because when we give fertilizer into lily pad, it will turn into cattail, one of the best plant on original PvZ. While having a great traits, sadly its main weakness is dealing with multiple zombies. So I picked Fume Shroom next, an attacker we currently have that able to deal group damage. As for the pool, I'm using Gloom Shroom, same way as getting it by using fertilizer. With additional Fume Shroom and some micro, level 19 is beaten with just one seed slot. Level 20 brings football zombie back again. And it brings nightmare for me. At first, I'm trying to use Fume Shroom and Cattail combo. But since they both cannot fuse together, making their synergy really limited, so I'm using a strategy that I wanted to use in 3.0. In 3.0, Walnut was given all fusions with the other plants. And I'm using is Lily Nut, that able to spawn Walnut every 90 seconds. Giving me unlimited Walnut to block and make giant bowling nut, rolling my way into level 21. Level 21, Snorkel Zombie appeared on this level, making defensive plants like Walnut more important in this level. So I just used the same last strategy, utilizing giant Walnut to simply clear all zombies. Since this level goes like the previous level, let me tell you a fun fact. We know that the giant Walnut deals a ton of damage. 600 damage per 0.02 seconds to be precise. It's because this plant is directly imported from OG PvZ, including its DPS too. And with that, level 21 is also done. Level 22 introduced us with Zombarine. And is he okay down there? On this level, I also used Walnut plus Lily Pad, even though looks like it was going well. But unfortunately I lose at 3/4 on my way. With an addition of Pole Vaulter creates chaos in the land. And Zomberries crush my Lily Nut if I'm unprepared. Although I feel this combo was possible, but I decided to find another strategy that is less micro and RNG reliant. Meet the Squash Spreader, a fusion of 3-peter and Squash. It shoots mini Squash projectile that infinitely bounces into the right. And that projectile also able to hit multiple times into the same zombies, especially large zombies like the Zombarine. Even though it has a high cost to made, but I just needed to Squash Spreaders enough to defend from Zombarines. And this strategy is really reliable for me, allowing me to breeze through the rest of the level. Although, level 23 brings a familiar vehicular zombie, Zomboni. But sadly, it can be killed with just one Squash Spreader. I'm basically just and it's already done. Level 24, Zomboni suddenly got an upgrade and becomes Bobsled Zomboni. It has even more toughness than normal Zomboni and accelerates in the snow, but became slow on land. But still, Squash Spreader is enough to clear this level easily. Level 25 brings a new zombie, Trident Zombie. And as expected, it throws Trident at plants, dealing at least 60 damage minimum. Now, is it annoying when my plants gets hurt? Yeet! Yes. But is it game breaking like the Cherry Newspaper Zombie? Nope. There's nothing that Squash Spreader can't handle, except the damage from Trident, which fertilizer can handle. And with that, once again a level is beaten using Squash Spreaders. And we move on to the next level. On level 26, all new pool zombies now enters the battle, and having hard carried by Squash Spreader. So I tried to use Flame Gloom Shroom, a combination between Gloom Shroom and Jalapeno. It can deal twice the damage as regular Gloom Shroom, and able to apply effect called Inflamed, which makes zombie received 50% more damage, and creates small explosion when killed, dealing 100 damage while spreads the effects again. Even though we're able to apply Inflamed, there's a slight problem with this defense, which is having a limited range, losing quite a ton of DPS if compared to Squash Spreader, and forces me to constantly moving my Gloom Shroom, saving them from getting crushed by Zomboni. But luckily, this strategy is able to beat this level, and we finish this final pool level with a grand explosion from Inflamed. Let's see that explosions in replay. Well, that's a way to end this level. Since this level isn't choose your seat level, I decided to completely skip this level. So we'll move into the fog level. Now we're in the fog. Just like in the night level, sun wouldn't fall from the skies once again. And obviously there's a fog on the right side of the lawn. Now, with a limited amounts of sun, I decided not to use them completely. Instead, I use Puff Shroom and Sea Shroom, which have a 0 sun cost. And also making Minnow Shroom, a new fusion from 3.0. These were meant to combo with other plants, but since I don't have them, it will constantly giving out free Sea Shroom every time, allowing me to just focus on the land. With that, level 28 is done. Level 29 brings back the Jack-in-the-Box zombie, which has a chance to explode, destroying nearby plants. But since I use these little shrooms, Jack-in-the-Box zombie are less likely to kill Puff Shroom since it stacks in the left part of the lawn, and Minnow Shroom constantly generate no Sea Shroom, easily beating level 29. Level 30, now we have Balloon Zombie, which cannot be attacked by most attacking plants. And we cannot rely on Cactus since it doesn't have a lot of combination. So the only answer is instant use plants like Doom Shroom. And it has an OP fusion with Sunflower, which makes Doom Flower. Apart from making Sun, Doom Flower able to plant a Doom Spore every 50 seconds. After growing for 30 seconds, it will trigger a Doom explosion when zombie comes near it. Although having the ability to generate Doom explosion, sadly this strategy also rely on micro and RNG, which makes it really inconsistent, but we're still able to pass level 30. Level 31 didn't have much difference, just added a screen door zombie, which is having no difference to my strategy. In this level I also unlocked a mallet, which able to instant kill any zombie in a small area, really handy in some situation. I also made a small changes to my strategy by having some grown spores on the back acts as a backup, which allow me to pass level 31. Level 31, zombie is somehow able to collab with balloons, making a blimp of their own. And the results is Zompellin, a flying unit that able to drop bombs at plants. But sadly their collaboration didn't comes with a great results. While it has a whopping 1350 HP, and Doom Shroom dealing 1800 damage per explosion, and also having a slower speed than Balloon Zombie. Feels quite weird to say that Balloon Zombie is more threatening in this situation. I also forgot to mention that I will always turn on the zombie HP display on fog levels, which I did on the previous level too, allowing me and hopefully you too to have an idea of their positions. And level 31 is done. Level 32, now they're added Digger Zombie. And somehow it becomes the biggest problem I'll face, as you can see from my attempt counter. So how the hell does Digger Zombie causes problem in the first place? Well, I always has a backup spore at the very back, and Digger Zombie always appear in the back, triggering all my backup spore. And I can't just doom it away. it will trigger the 50% rule faster for zombie. Which isn't great since Doom Shroom strategy really depends on time. Which also makes me overwhelmed by the next waves of zombie. I also tried even more, and still losing every time. With most attempts only able to reach to flag at max. All with same results, diggers triggering Doom early, and letting Pole Vaulter rush to my house. There's also one attempt when Pole Vaulter literally appeared first. And nope, I ain't gonna deal with that. So I also tried some other strategy, like Walnut plus Lily Pad and Lily Pad plus Jalapeno. But they're having a clear weakness compared to Doomflower. So now we're going to use 3 seed slots again, which I have to do some trial and error again. My first candidate is Star Fruit, as it can both fused with 2 other plants. But despite having cooler fusion doesn't mean it can defend easily. My second choice would be Pea Shooter, with its great performance in the night level. While they're having quite good stats, they didn't synergize really well, turning this attempt into another failure. Now for the third candidate. I'm going to pick Blubber as my third plant. To be honest, I just wanted to try Fallout Blubber. So what does the Fallout Blubber do? Unlike Doom Shroom, that instantly blast off their damage. Fallout Blubber slowly dealing 300 damage per second for all zombies on screen. Now for my winning attempt. Everything here is maximized to their fullest potential. We're setting up Twin Sunflower first as we're needed a lot of sun. And as usual also setting up Doomflower as our consistent DPS. The placement for Twin Sunflower is also act as a meat shield for Doomflower. After the first wave, I used Doom Shroom to make Fallout Blubber now, as it's able to stay for 10 seconds, which able to clear 2 waves of zombie, and able to buy some time for Doomflower to spawn their spores. The sun also comes into play by spamming Blubber and Sunflower, preventing some fast zombie like Pole Vaulter and Jack in the Box, and risking everything to defend Flag 2. After a grueling battle, finally we can wipe this level using Fallout Blubber. Level 33, bringing a new zombie. It's the Whale Rider Yeti, and with some other troublesome zombies. With the previous level, I instantly bring 3 plants with me, since I have to deal with balloons and diggers. And now we have to deal with Whale Rider. It has some abilities, but the main problem is, by having a high amount of speed, which just instantly zoomed to my house. Just like that. So now I needed a water plant or a stronger plant that can handle Whale Rider. At first, I picked Sea Shroom, as it cheap cost and with Orca Shroom, which able to produce small Doom explosion. On paper, it sounds quite good to use, but sadly, it's a manual plant that constantly needs to be fed Sea Shroom, or requires Minnow Shroom to constantly fed it, which I didn't have. Now let's have a speedrun of me showing my attempts. Fire Gloom, hoping Inflamed, can trigger some chain reaction, but not quick enough for Whale Rider. Next is Scorchweed, probably the most questionable attempt. I don't think I need to explain it. Up next, we have Cattail plus Spikeweed, and also Cattail plus Gloom Shroom. The first combo are instantly losing, and the second one able to survive half of the level, but still fall apart due of lack of fusions. I guess I wasn't learned from the previous pool attempts. Lastly, for the final attempt, probably kinda unexpected. We're using Frost Cattail, a cattail that unable to apply freeze, but dealing high damage to cold and frozen zombie. By using this loadout, we can counter the annoying zombies, diggers and balloons countered by Cattail, and Whale Rider we just triggered their jump using Lily Pad. Although Cattail having a weakness of dealing high groups of zombies, with the help of Ice Shroom, time it for freezing high amounts of zombies, at the same time using it to make more Frost Cattail. We are able to clear level 33, while having 17k suns on hand. Level 35 brings Clown in the Box Zombie, an upgraded Jack in the Box Zombie with extra annoyance. But luckily, Doomflower can just doom it into oblivion. Now, having a level without Digger and Whale Rider feels like a relief. After everything we threw, no zombie can disturb my Doomflower. And using this strategy multiple times. Just one single attempt needed to clear this level. And that's all the fork levels done. Since level 36 is also a conveyor level, we're going to skip it. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Let's do a quick recap, just like last time. Today's video is quite interesting, I must say. From using some unique strategy to handling unexpected annoying zombies. With at most level needed to seed slot, while some harder levels needed 3 seed slot. Well, that's the end of the video now. Thank you for your support for the last video. And I hope you enjoyed this video as well. And I will see you in another video.